We have to recite discussion Pali between Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Mahakutika. Can you follow me? Silavanta Uso Sariputta Pekuna Katame Dhamma Yoni Somanasika Dava Silavanta Uso Guttika Pekuna Pinju Badane Kanda Nejado Dukkha Rogado Gandado Salado Agado Abadado Parado Palogado Sunyado Anattado Yoni Somanasikadaba. Recite together. Silavanta Uso Sariputta Bhikkhuna Katame Dhamma Yoni Somanasikadaba. Silavanta Uso Guttika Pinju Badane Kanda Nejado Dukkha Rogado Gandado Salado Agado Avadado Parado Palogado Sunyado Anattado Yoni Samanasikadaba. Translation read together. Ran Sariputta carefully attend to Prankutika. The virtuous bhikkhu should carefully attend to aggregates subject to clinging as suffering, as a disease, as tumor, as death, as misery, as affliction, as alien, as dissolution. Then Venerable Sariputta continued to explain what are the five aggregates of clinging. Meditator have to know these five upadana khanda: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. Every time the object is encountered, it is to see the five aggregates, or to see the mind and matter as they really are, and remain at the stage of just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. Not to attach to these five aggregates of clinging, just see and it's gone. So follow me. Number 2. Katame Pinja Sayadidam Rupu Parane Kando Vedanu Parane Kando Sinyu Parane Kando Singaru Parane Kando Vinyanu Parane Kando. Read together. Katame Pinja Sayadidam Rupu Parane Kando Vedanu Parane Kando Sinyu Parane Kando Singaru Parane Kando Vinyanu Parane Kando. Translation read together. What are the 5 aggregates of clinging? Subject to clinging. Perception aggregate subject to clinging. Vision aggregate subject to clinging. Consciousness aggregate subject to clinging. So Vipassana meditator have to observe these 5 aggregates of clinging as impermanent, as suffering, as a disease, as tumor, as death, as misery, etc. So we finish anicca, yoniso manasikkatthapa. Today dukkha, yoniso manasikkatthapa. The 5 aggregates are called suffering because they are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. There is one of the 3 reasons given in the commentaries. The second reason, the aggregates are called dukkha because they are the basic of suffering, they are the seeds of suffering. And the third reason is because there are 5 aggregates, there is suffering. And as we ourselves are 5 aggregates, so we suffer. We suffer a lot because of the 5 aggregates. We will suffer again so long as we are in the samsara. But people hope for the sukha, not for dukkha. But meditator have to know that all are suffering. We see something we don't want to see, and we suffer. We hear something we don't want to hear, that there is suffering. We don't want to be sad, we don't want to be depressed, but we do get sad, we do get depressed, and we suffer. Because of these 5 aggregates, we have to endure all of these suffering. If there were no 5 aggregates, there will be no suffering. But because we are 5 aggregates, there will be aging, sickness and death, and so we suffer. We encounter all of this misery simply because of the 5 aggregates. So they are called dukkha, they are called suffering, because they are the basic of suffering. In this sense, the 5 aggregates of clinging, 5 upadana khanda, are also called Dukkha. Buddha said, Pinju Padana Khanda Dukkha. 5 aggregates of clinging are suffering. The third reason is that the 5 aggregates are called suffering because they are fearsome, they are fearful, they are dreadful. Because of these 5 aggregates, we undergo constant suffering, so they are fearful. Because these 5 aggregates, these mind and matter, bring aging, sickness and death, and other kinds of suffering, they are called dukkha. Why we practice meditation? We practice meditation in order to see and in order to understand the 5 aggregates of mind and matter are suffering. It is the true nature. And the 5 aggregates of mind and matter are suffering for 3 reasons. They are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. They are the basic of suffering, and they are fearsome. Dukkha is translated as unsatisfactory. Anything that is impermanent is unsatisfactory. We want things to be permanent. We want our body to be permanent. We want ourselves to be permanent. We want to live permanently, but we will not get what we want. We are subject to aging, we are subject to death, and because there is no satisfaction with these 5 aggregates, the 5 aggregates of mind and matter are unsatisfactory. We need to understand 3 things. What is it that is dukkha? What is the characteristics of dukkha? And what is dukkha nupassana? Or what is seeing dukkha? What is it that is dukkha? When we say dukkha, when we say suffering, we mean the 5 aggregates, which are also impermanent. The same 5 aggregates that are impermanent are also dukkha or suffering. What is the characteristics? What is the mark or sign of being dukkha? We see that the 5 aggregates, which comprise everything in the world, are oppressed continuously by rise and fall. So the characteristics of suffering is this constant oppression by rise and fall, which is continuous and never stop. There is not a single moment in our lives when we are not oppressed by rise and fall. And what is dukkha nupassana jnana? What is dukkha nupassana? or repeated seeing of dukkha. This means watching and noting the five aggregates during your vipassana meditation and seeing with your own eyes the continuous operation by rise and fall. Dukkha is the understanding or knowledge you get from this observation of the five aggregates. Only when you observe the five aggregates and see them continuously oppressed by rise and fall, can this, your vipassana knowledge, be gained and made for your own knowledge. This knowledge or this understanding that the five aggregates are dukkha, can be obtained, can be attained while you are actively engaged in practicing vipassana meditation. There is no other way to see the rise and fall of the aggregates. Only while you are practicing vipassana and watching them closely as they rise and fall at the present moment, you will be convinced of their continuous oppression, and you will know that they are suffering, they are dukkha. This kind of knowledge is called dukkha, and it is the real seeing of the dukkha, real seeing of the suffering. So Venerable Sariputta said that a virtuous and instructed meditators, bhikkhu, should carefully attend to the five aggregates subject to clinging in order to see and understand them as suffering. This means that the bhikkhu meditators must practice vipassana meditation. Here there are two kinds of suffering, Piñati dukkha and Paramatha dukkha. Piñati dukkha, superficial suffering, and Paramatha dukkha, real suffering. Superficial suffering does not need the practice of vipassana meditation in order to be understood. The person cut his finger and then say it is dukkha. The person leg broken and then he say it is dukkha, it is suffering. Or he hit his knees against something and say it is suffering, it is dukkha. This kind of understanding is superficial because he suffer, the whole body suffer, the whole solid body suffer, not mind and matter. He suffer, the whole solid body suffer. The nature of dukkha is not really seen. He experienced the unpleasant feeling involved. and then see it as suffering. He just feel it and know it as he suffer or the person suffer. Meditation is not needed to understand this. What we are concerned with here is real suffering, paramata dukkha. The deep understanding of real suffering, dukkha. The commentary said that we must understand three things. What is it? What is it that is dukkha? What is the characteristics of dukkha? And what is dukkha nupassana? The seeing of dukkha. What is it that is dukkha? That is easy to answer. The five aggregates. The five aggregates of mind and matter are dukkha or suffering. When we say suffering, we mean both the five aggregates, five khanda, and the five aggregates of clinging, five upadana khanda. Khanda and upadana khanda both are suffering. So it includes all of them. And what is the characteristics of dukkha? We must understand the meaning of the word dukkha correctly. Normally it means suffering, unpleasant feeling, but its meaning goes deeper than that. We must understand it according to the words of the Buddha. Yadan Nichan Dan Dukkha. Whatever is impermanent is suffering. Whatever is impermanent is suffering. This we need to understand. Buddha did not say that whatever is difficult to endure is suffering. Buddha did not say like this. Buddha said that whatever is impermanent is suffering. If you know something to be impermanent, you also know that it is suffering. So the meaning of the word suffering goes deeper than the surface meaning. We have to go deeply into it. In order to understand it, we must remember the saying of the Buddha that whatever is impermanent is suffering. If we want to know whether something is suffering, we have to see if it is permanent or impermanent. If it is impermanent, we will know that it is dukkha. So don't be afraid to say it is dukkha, it is suffering. Some people say that such and such is suffering, such and such is subject to suffering, or the sankhara are subject to suffering. We should have the courage to say These sankhara are suffering, not just passively subject to suffering, which means under the control of suffering, having a tendency to suffer or dependent on suffering. Once you see that something is impermanent, you can safely say that it is suffering. The word suffering and dukkha in Pali have more meaning than what appears on the surface. Dukkha means suffering, something difficult to endure, oppression. According to the Buddha's definition, whatever is impermanent is suffering. Why should something impermanent be called suffering? Sometimes people enjoy delicious food, good companionship, nice vacation. They enjoy many things. Are those things suffering? When people enjoying good food, they not say, I am suffering. But indeed, according to the Buddha, they are suffering. Why are such seemingly harmless activities called suffering? We must understand the characteristics of suffering. The commentary gives three reasons why the five aggregates of clinging are called suffering. The first reason is that they are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. You must keep firmly in mind that constant oppression by rise and fall is the characteristics of dukkha. If you want to know whether or not something is dukkha, try to see whether it rises and falls. If rise and fall, it has to be oppressed by the rising and falling. And that oppression is what dukkha means. So all five aggregates, including the five aggregates of clinging, are called dukkha because they are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. You can look at everything in the world and you will see that everything is oppressed by rise and fall. And that rise and fall also are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. Can you find a single moment when there is no rise and fall? Can you find a single moment when the process of rise and fall stops? From the moment we take conception in our motherhood womb, this rise and fall begins to oppress us. And rise and fall goes on and goes on and on and on throughout our life. There is not a single moment when we are free from rise and fall. There is always rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall, appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. When you see things during your meditation, you note them as rising and falling, one after another, hundreds of objects. Then you start to get impression that everything is oppressed by rising and falling. This rising and falling is a kind of oppression. Falling means destruction, which is a kind of oppression. And rising is a precursor to falling. It rises so that it can fall. The falling is also a kind of oppression. Rising and falling oppress the five aggregates of mind and matter every moment, creating continuous oppression. This constant oppression by rise and fall is the characteristic of dukkha. If you can understand dukkha in this way, you can accept the fact that enjoying delicious food is dukkha, enjoying good companionship is dukkha. Whatever you are enjoying is dukkha, because there is nothing that is not dukkha. And you can accept the teaching of the Buddha that the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. When explaining the first noble truth, Dukkha in his first sermon, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Buddha said, birth is suffering, decay is suffering, death is suffering, association with those one does not like is suffering, and at the end, Pinju Padana Khanda Dukkha, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering, Buddha said. That means, in brief, everything in the world is suffering. If you understand this to mean the continuous oppression by rise and fall, you can easily accept the truthfulness of the Buddha's explanation. If you don't understand it, you may want to argue about the teaching of the Buddha and talk about some kinds of happiness, enjoyment, and so forth. But we need to understand and to hold firmly in mind the meaning of dukkha is constant oppression by rise and fall. Now we will go back to another way of understanding the five aggregates of clinging, upadana khanda, in terms of 11 aspects mentioned in the Silavanta Sutta. As you already know, the Venerable Sariputta said that a bhikkhu meditator who is virtuous and instructed should attend to the five aggregates of clinging as impermanent. That means meditators must practice meditation so that you see the five aggregates of clinging as impermanence. Then you must see them as suffering. Now you must see them as disease. Rogato yoniso manasikatapa. Meditators who is virtuous and instructed must see the aggregates of clinging as a chronic disease. A person who has a chronic disease such as diabetes, asthma, high blood pressure is not free. He cannot eat what he likes, but he must take medicine and avoid eating food that would aggravate his condition. He must always be careful. The disease may increase and at times decrease, but he is never in control. No matter how careful he is, the disease is stay there. However much attention and care is given to a chronic disease, it is never cured. In the same way, however much we find fault with the five aggregates, we still have them. We need to attend to them. We need to clean our five aggregates. We need to clean our body. We need to do exercise, sitting, walking. We need to feed the food, breakfast and lunch. We must avoid food that is unsuitable for the body. We must avoid living in an unsuitable climate for the body. We need to take care of a host of other things just because of the five aggregates. So long as our life is going on, we have to take care of this five aggregates, this khanda. So these aggregates can be viewed as a rogato yoniso manasikatapa, as a chronic disease. And then gandhato yoniso manasikatapa. A bhikkhu meditators who is virtuous and instructed also must see the five aggregates of clinging as a tumor or a sore. When you have a tumor or sore that oozes blood and pus and causes a lot of pain, you must care for it with medication. Our five aggregates are like a tumor. Many repulsive things ooze out: greed, hatred, delusion, pride, and envy. They ooze out from our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. They are always oozing out. When we see something beautiful, what oozes out of our eyes? Greed or attachment. And if we see something we don't like, anger oozes out of our eyes. Because these things are always oozing out of the five aggregates, they are like tumor, they are like sores. Pantato Yoniso Manasikataba. Bhikkhu meditators must also see the five aggregates of clinging as a dot. Sanlato Yoniso Manasikataba. When a dot penetrates a body, it causes sharp pain whenever you touch the spot. In the same way, the five aggregates give us suffering of different kinds because we have eyes, sensitivity, we have to suffer the object we don't want to see. Because we have ears, we have to suffer the sound we don't want to hear. They are like dots in our flesh. And once a dot gets into the flesh, it is not easily removed. So the five aggregates are to be viewed as a dot causing suffering, and the five aggregates of clinging are to be seen as misery. Sanlato yoniso manasikataba. And then agato yoniso manasikataba. The five aggregates are also to be viewed as akusala, unwholesome. The original Pali word is aga. Visuddhimagga explained it as being censurable, deserving of censure, like akusala karma, unwholesome karma. It is censured by noble beings and giving painful results. The five aggregates are censurable because they give us pain, suffering, and bad results. So they have to be viewed as akusala. So agato yoniso manasikataba. And then abadato yoniso manasikataba. Five aggregates of clinging are to be seen as affliction, which means occasional sickness such as cold, indigestion, diarrhea, or fever. When you are sick for a few days and unable to eat, and you are unable to do what you like, you may suffer because of this affliction. Even though it is an occasional sickness, it can afflict you with suffering. In the same way, the five aggregates are like occasional sickness. Since we are composed of the five aggregates, we cannot do what we like. We have to look we have to look after them, we have to protect them, we have to avoid what is unsuitable for them. So a bhikkhu meditator is instructed to see the five aggregates of clinging as affliction or occasional sickness. Abadato yoniso manasikataba. So now you observe seven aspects of the aggregates. You have to observe the five aggregates of clinging as impermanence, as suffering, as disease, as tumor, as death, as misery, and as affliction. All of the seven are aspects of being dukkha. So the five aggregates can be seen as dukkha, or in terms of these seven individual aspects. In seeing them as a disease, as a tumor, and so on, you are seeing the dukkha aspect of the five aggregates. And then you have to observe the five aggregates of clinging as alien. A person who is an alien is not in our power because he owes allegiance to another country. He is an outsider. Uh, we have no authority over him. So we refer to him as alien. Outsider, you cannot get any help from him. But in your family member, you can ask them what to do, he will do for you. But the five aggregates of clinging are outsider. The five aggregates must be regarded as alien, not belonging to us, as something you cannot control. This alien aspect belongs to anatta. And now we have to go to anatta nature. The teaching of anatta is the most distinctive feature of the Buddha teaching. It is the most difficult to understand, the most misunderstood, the most misinterpreted of his teaching. The Buddha appeared at a time when most people strongly believe in the existence of an inborn entity called Atta. Almost all other faiths believe in one kind of Atta or another, but the Buddha appeared and he taught that there is no Atta, no self. There are only the five aggregates, and these five aggregates are not self, no Atta. In order to understand Atta, first we need to understand Atta, which in the time of the Buddha was seen as different things. Atta was seen as a master, as one who lives somewhere permanently, as an active person, and as one who fully experiences both joy and suffering. According to these views, there is also something called an Atta residing in our body. And this Atta is a master. It is master of itself and it is master of the body. There are people who think that they are master of themselves. They do what they want to do, they say what they want to say, they eat what they want to eat, and they go where they want to go. If they really think they are master of themselves, you can invite to practice meditation for a few minutes and see if they can keep their mind on the object, then they would really see if they are master of themselves. Their minds may wander off quite often. During practicing meditation, keep your bodies quiet, don't move, but a lot of moving and nature call, coughing, runny nose, hiccup, sneezing. Body cannot be controlled. The mind cannot be controlled. The minds will wander quite often and not stay where their owners want them to stay. Faced by the five aggregates, there is this helplessness in us. Although we think that we can think of whatever we want to think, if we try to train our mind on one object, we see that we are not master of ourselves. We are at the mercy of our mind. So the sense of anatta manifests itself to us when we try to practice meditation. Then we know with certainty that we are not master of ourselves. Actually, there is nothing that is master of the body. There are also people who believe there is an atta and there is self. This atta does everything. When we do something, it is not we who do the action, but the atta. Whatever we do is actually the actions of atta. There is one view of atta. There is another view that it is atta that experience, it is atta that enjoys or suffer. When we enjoy something, it is not we who enjoy, but the atta or self that enjoys. When we suffer, it is the atta that suffer. Whenever we experience anything, it is the atta, it is a self that experience, not we. For those people who believe in this way, atta, self, is very real. Buddha rejected all these beliefs. And in his Anatta Lagna Sutta, Buddha mentioned Rupam Bhikkhu Anatta, Vedana Anatta, Sinya Anatta, Sankhara Anatta, Vijnana Anatta. Rupa is non-self, feeling is non-self, perception is non-self, volitional formation is non-self, Vijnana, consciousness is non-self. So nature, dukkha, anatta, we need to observe these five aggregates of clinging. We have to recite the notes, look at your paper. Page number 5, number 12, number 12 to number 20. Number 12, anicca, dukkha, anatta, we have to recite. Number 12, follow me. Rise, fall, and change are the characteristics of impermanence. Disappearing after arising is the characteristics of impermanence. The five aggregates are called dukkha, suffering, because they are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. The aggregates are called dukkha because they are the basic of suffering. They are the seeds of suffering. The aggregates are called dukkha because there are five aggregates. There is suffering. And as we ourselves are five aggregates, we suffer. 15. What is it that is dukkha? Answer. When we say dukkha, we mean the five aggregates which are impermanent and nature. The five aggregates that are impermanent are also dukkha or suffering. Number 16. What is the characteristic, mark or sign of being dukkha? We see that the five aggregates which comprise everything in the world are oppressed continuously by rise and fall. What is dukkha nupassana, or repeated seeing of dukkha? Dukkha nupassana means watching and noting the five aggregates during vipassana meditation and seeing with your own eyes the continuous oppression by rise and fall. What is it that is dukkha? The five aggregates. What is the characteristics of dukkha? Whatever is impermanent is dukkha. 20. What is it that is anatta? The five aggregates. The five aggregates are not self. So rupa anatta, vedana anatta, sanya anatta, sankhara anatta, vijnana anatta. The five aggregates are anatta, not self. So during practicing meditation, you can see very clearly what Buddha said. Sariputta and Moggallana discussion. You all agree? We have to stop our discord today. By practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, by noting rising, falling, sitting, touching, stretching, bending, seeing, hearing continuously and meticulously, may all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all meditators realize the real peace in the very near future.